All right, Zach, you're back. Welcome back. Start back. Just give her a starter. Start it. Just
well, now I'm nervous because I know this is actually going
Do it,
out.
Zach.
yank the cord, Zach. Yank the cord.
I'm getting anxious every
Start
time I
the
breathe in to do
lawnmower.
it.
Start the lawnmower.
Just do it.
Zach's back, baby.
Oh, look, it's Nixon.
Hey.
Do you have a message for us, Earthicans?
I say... I couldn't think of anything in time.
Do something about fish. Because that's where you were, fish.
Trout for everyone.
Okay. That's a position I can get behind.
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, yeah,
It's
I'm
been a
doing
while.
good.
Welcome
Doing
back,
great.
Zach.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Glad you could come back.
Do you want to get some cliff notes on what you were doing?
I was fly fishing, catching a lot of fish, and sleeping in the middle of the day. It was great.
Ooh, all right. Solid plan.
Good time.
Yeah.
Good time.
I don't think I actually need this laptop, so I'm going to close it.
All right.
So
Perfect.
I don't think I need a screen. or
Okay.
anything.
We'll turn off the TV to save battery.
I'm working on it. Where's the... I can't find the thing. All right.
All right.
Wow.
Zach's back.
Zach's back.
Here I
TV's
am.
off.
And for the first time ever, we finally have a topic he can
Yes.
actually weigh in on
Yes.
perfectly
If you read the title, you know where this is going already.
Yeah.
Before we start, I want to front load something here. Make sure you tell our friends about the show if you enjoy it. Word of mouth is a huge thing for us. And
Yeah.
we appreciate it. Like we've already got a handful of people who started listening because people told them about it. Mostly us,
Mostly us.
but still, our own word of mouth is just as good as yours. And yours is even better because you're not biased like we are.
And you're also fans.
Yes.
And you matter more
Than
than
us.
us.
Yes.
Than us. Than me. Than any
Someday,
of
if we have enough fans, we'll find some that look like us and just have them do the show.
I ever thought about if we ever got brought onto like a talk show, I would hire somebody completely different
Yeah, that'd
to
be
come
great.
on and pretend to be me. Just
Yeah.
not tell anybody. They'd call me out. It would just be just like some kind of Asian man or something
Yeah.
just walking out like, hey
Okay.
man, what's up?
All right,
need to-
we'll hold you to that.
We need to start tweeting Ellen now to get her booked for my spot.
Ugh.
So
Just
Zach,
get her a fake beard.
there's a new like Earthworm Jim game or something like that you've been playing, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just wanna make
The
it-
worms they burrow into your brain, and
A warning to the fans.
Okay, so
I
like,
wanted
they're more like trichinosis than anything else, right?
yeah.
a
They're
little
terrible.
warning to the fans. I didn't want to talk about this game, but
There's too much drama.
We kind of have no choice, but we're not going to talk about the drama.
What are we talking about?
We're just going to talk about what we thought about the game.
What game?
The Last of Us Uno Dos. Wait.
Okay.
Part Dos.
The Last of Us 1, 2.
The Last of Us Part 2.
Yes. Full disclosure, I have not played it. I've watched a little bit, played on stream, and Ryan has told me the story. So I am your Harry Potter. I am your person who doesn't know anything about the world being pulled into it so that
If Zach-
you can learn through me.
You could say if Zach and I have different opinions on the game, you're the referee in the octagon.
Okay, I'll allow it.
The pop culture UFC match it is
Okay.
talking about Last of Us Part 2.
This is gonna be great.
All right.
So, Zach, we had talked about how we wanted to do this.
In the
and-
left corner, we have Ryan in the blue. He has finished the game and he has thoughts. In the right corner, we have Zack Attack in the red. He has not finished the game, but his opinions are strong. Fighters, are you ready?
Let's do it. I got to do like the glove tap.
Ding ding.
All right. So we said how we were going to do this is we were going to start this as we were going to talk about the good stuff.
Yeah, start about the
first. We're going to
positives.
start what we liked about the game. Hurry up, record. You answer that text message. I don't know what it says. Actually, never mind. I'll answer it.
I'm just gonna hand you. A
No,
random
you guys
phone.
talk. I got
All right.
this.
No, what did she say? What did my girlfriend say?
Hey, honey, period. How's recording going? Question mark. Think Toy be home 5 to 5:30? If not, that's okay. I'll Uber to Heather's if you'll pick me up later.
Just tell her like,
I'll handle this.
I don't
you
like
record.
that.
You record. I'll handle this.
I don't like her. This is good.
This is
Anyway,
hilarious.
so I guess what I liked about the game, well, I'll let you go ahead first because let's see what you liked
Oh, okay.
because it
So-
sounded like you didn't have a lot.
No, actually, I have a lot that I like about the game, and I would actually like to preface it by if you played the first one, you'll want to play the second one.
Yeah.
And it's not one of those things where like it was so bad that you're like, no, don't do it, don't recommend it, like put it in the dustbin of history.
We're not like those like many people are claiming that it is.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
the controversy about
Well-
this game is it's very left. It's either yes, it's 10 out of 10 or it's 0 out of 10. You know,
Yeah.
it's not that.
So the gameplay I actually thought was great. They did a really good job. Like one of the things that games tend to do that fail is they try to expand, and in expanding, like lose their original gameplay. So The Last of Us 2 actually did a really good job at adding like a dodge setup. So like you can actually dodge enemies that are coming in, and you actually have to reaction time a little bit more. And they didn't. I think they only added one new type of infected. So you still have all the classic infected.
Yeah.
It didn't destroy. Like it wasn't like a Pokemon situation where like all of a sudden there's 150 new types of cordyceps.
When you said about the zombie, like there's a cool attention to detail with these too, because now like you'll see some that are walking around with backpacks on because they're they were travelers who died and became infected.
Yeah,
it would make
those
sense
are nice
that
touches.
they're not all going to look exactly. They're not all going to wear the same brown shirt. With the same holes in it and everything. So
yeah, it was really good.
I like the attention to detail that there is with like the NPC players. Like
where's the power button?
The people
screen
that
button on this thing.
I don't know, the people that you fight.
Oh, it's a Bixby button.
Like all of the different people that you fight and go against in it. I like that they actually all have names. Like if you kill one, you will hear a person yell like Chester's down or something like that. If anyone knows, that's GTA 5. That's a GTA 5 Easter egg. But they will say like their different names. Everyone has different names. It's very
the dogs have names.
Yeah, there's a very realistic tone to it.
So one of the things that I thought was actually really good was that going through the game you start to hear names, and then when you go to play through is Abby, and you're talking to some
We're going to read
people.
to the class.
No, go ahead.
Oh, that's
I'll read it after The Last of Us.
Okay.
So like when you're playing through as Abby and you're like going through their base, you'll actually hear them call out to the names of people and call the names of the dogs and whatnot. So like you actually get to see those characters on the other side as well, which I thought was a phenomenal little touch of detail.
Did we talk about by the way the fact that we are going to be spoiling everything up until about the very end of the game? Because we're probably going to be spoiling pretty much everything up to the end of the game.
Of this?
Yes.
Probably not. No.
No?
Huh.
Definitely. That's where most of my critiques come from, are in the details.
I guess never mind. Yeah.
Okay,
Spoiler warning.
Spoiler alert.
We will be spoiling a lot, I guess. I didn't think we had to really spoil a lot, but
no, there was no spoiler that you would be playing as Abby for a little bit as well. So that was a known thing.
okay. Well, whatever.
But there will be spoilers coming up.
So
warning.
Another thing I kind of like, and weirdly enough, it's kind of one's. There's scenes. There's like little scenes, like all the flashback scenes. I don't know, man. I was like tearing up. That one. Did you when you were playing? You know, at the one part where it's you and Dina riding through. I think at the beginning of Seattle, and like you get that little. She has that map, and she X off like buildings that you go through.
Yeah.
That one. Did you go to the music store and go up and play the guitar?
Yeah.
Where she plays "Take on Me." And like you're actually playing guitar, like how they have it set up.
Yeah, you play
for the
first
on
couple.
a spinning wheel, all the notes, all like actual notes you would play on guitar, and then on the touchpad you actually strum it with your thumb, like your fingers.
That's kind of cool.
And it actually is a guitar. It's really cool.
Yeah. What's really cool is if you practice. I don't know if you ever did the practice bit. Depending on where you strum on the touchpad, it will actually pick the individual strings.
Yeah,
Which was, it was really well built.
It's really cool how they do it. But basically throughout that whole game, I think they do they'll do scenes like that where she's playing guitar, and those are really nice. A lot of the flashbacks with Joel are really great. Like it's really fun. It's really cool to watch Ellie grow up and him basically be the dad, because at the end of in the beginning of the first one, his daughter dies and Ellie becomes basically a surrogate daughter to him, and it's really cool to watch Joel have that father-daughter relationship in like a different, like what you would have seen with his real daughter if she was still living, and like the part where they're going through the museum and you can like Ellie will pick up random hats. And like she puts them on dinosaurs. At one point, he gives her a space helmet so she can get in one of the rovers, and then she he has her close her eyes and listen to the sound of a rocket launch to pretend that she. It's really wholesome, really wholesome. Too bad everything else is.
They did a good job at showing how Joel calmed down a lot. And it went from, I don't have anything to live for, I'm just surviving,
Yeah.
to I'm trying to be someone for someone else.
Yeah, but my only problem is like knowing Joel and them. How we get to the real first controversial thing about it is the only reason it does. I think a lot of people are mad about it. The reason I don't like it is because it doesn't make sense for Joel's character of how it happens, and that's the death.
Well, it doesn't. It doesn't. So the death scene. So I guess we can start to get into
Yes.
this.
Spoiler time.
So
Okay.
we're getting into spoilers at this point.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning, I actually really like how Joel handles it because it shows that Joel is still a monster and he's still not afraid.
What do you mean?
Like,
when he gets shot in the leg and he's just like, if you, whatever speech you have, just save it.
He's like, whatever speech you have prepared, say it and let's get on.
Can I give like why I think the whole thing doesn't make sense?
Go for it.
It's the fact that like throughout Joel's, like no matter what, the one thing it did not change from Joel, and as you find out throughout the game, is like Joel was still as paranoid as he was. So
yeah,
yes, he saves Abby from the zombies and then immediately has no problem going back to the base. Sure, I'll let that slide. That's okay. But the fact is that he trusts, without even knowing this group, trust them enough to go around, to go into the middle of the room so they're all surrounding him. And for Tommy, who is also just as paranoid about it, to say, well, we have a home. We can give you that. And I know people's argument could be is like, well, they've been in Jacksonville for years now. Maybe they've calmed down. That's not how it would work. That's not at all. It doesn't make sense based on the character.
Yeah.
Because the character clearly, because they show the character still he didn't change. He didn't become less paranoid. In fact, he became even more paranoid, especially the whole thing about the punching when that guy called Ellie a lesbian or gay or whatever, and he punched him. Every time you really see him, you see he is still paranoid. He's a paranoid man.
Well, that wasn't paranoia. That was more of a
no.
defense.
But I'm saying throughout.
But yeah, we'll get into that later because that's
throughout
one of the
the
critiques
scenes
I have.
where you do see him, because the scenes all take place as Matt. All the scenes take place of Ellie growing up.
Yeah.
And all those scenes, you really do see that he's still paranoid. Hell,
he's overprotective.
He goes all the way back to the Firefly base, where the end of the first one ended, because he thinks because Ellie went by herself and he thought she was going to get lost, and the first thing he does is scream Ellie and hugs her. He's like, I thought I lost you.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's overprotective.
Yeah, and because he is a paranoid person, it really does not make much sense story-wise. It's really a case of they wanted to kill him off.
Yeah.
And as I told you, Matt, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I'll let
Go,
you speak
go.
in a second. The last thing I have to say of that point is, it's very clear. You can tell there was a different story written here. There was a different story, and it was very clear that there was going to be a different idea, but it changed. Why it changed, I don't know. I'm not going to presume to think anything, but it's clear that there was an actual better story, and you can't say Neil Druckmann is a bad writer because he wrote the first one.
Yeah.
Like, you can't say he's a bad writer. I think my only opinion is that the fact that this game probably would have been better is if Joel died later, and it was an actual earned death. And the fact that this random person Abby kills Joel, you don't get any character developed for her until you play as her 10 hours after you're on a revenge quest to kill her.
You explained a lot of the story to me and my dad on Monday. And I kind of formulated based on what you explained, I kind of formed what I thought would be a better story.
Yeah.
But I want to get your response to what he's saying first.
Okay, so
I say as I point to Zach to make it clear.
So my first major critique of this is that it had all the storytellings to be a phenomenal game, and they put things in horrible order. Just absolutely terrible order.
Oh, I completely agree.
And really messed up the flow, because the first game was a phenomenal, we're going to go in order. Like, we're going to skip some time, but we're going to go in order. And I'm okay with the flashbacks, but the problem was that the flashbacks had very important plot points.
Yes.
And to what you had said,
game, right? It felt like that was what the game was originally supposed to be.
Yeah, it was. Well, and I think what was interesting is that, like, you don't figure out that why Abby's coming after Joel until, like you said, like 12, 14 hours into the game.
Yeah, and they only imply it.
Yeah.
Because she just says, because he says, "Who are you?" And then she says some things to him, and he just automatically knows and assumes who they are.
There's logical inconsistencies because she goes, I think she says, "Do you remember who I am, or do you know who I am?" In which case, they've never met.
Yeah.
Like Joel killed her dad, but they've never met. It didn't make any sense.
And to make it clear for someone who, like, I know people listen to this that don't play video games, don't understand what he means by Ellie, who is the main character of the second one that we play as. She has she's immune to the virus that is turning people into zombies. The whole first game is you taking Ellie to go create the cure with her, but unfortunately that involves killing her. So Joel kills all of the Fireflies, which is the group that wants Ellie to make the cure. He kills them all, which is where Abby's dad was involved. Joel kills the dad, which I have a writing as like why that's the stupid reason why Abby goes after Joel, when the better reason made sense when you just think about it. There's a better reason than just he killed my dad. But that's basically what it is then now she's coming after revenge.
Well, I was fine with it being her dad. The problem was you start off as Abby and you have zero context to who this person is.
Yeah.
And the way that she kills Joel in the beginning, like you're just sitting there going, you're lost. And like, it's not even I'm missing information, what's going on.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know who you are. I don't know why you're here. Like they tried this like sad attempt at like, maybe they're coming after Tommy because they were like, oh yeah, Tommy did a bunch of stuff with the Fireflies. And it's like, no, we know they're coming after Joel.
Yeah. That's the thing is like, why would they make it seem, they give you reasons to believe they're coming after Tommy, but 10 hours ago, we already know there's coming after Joel. So why are you trying to make me think otherwise when I know Joel's dead? I watched him die. Like,
no.
And the thing is I thought of a better idea how this could have been better is maybe alongside Ellie and Joel playing. Maybe as I told them, the idea of Abby comes after them during that break where she's running and all those zombies. Because when they go on patrol, when Ellie and them go on patrol, they say like, we haven't seen many zombies in a while. Well, now there's a billion of them just chasing Abby only a mile away from Jacksonville. So what they could have done is that Abby had in an attempt to find Joel, accidentally leads all these zombies there. It kills Dina or kills Jesse, someone that Ellie cares about. And now she goes on a mission. And why I think this is probably what the idea was going to somewhere along the lines is Ellie goes out for revenge. And Joel, like we see in the trailers, Joel is the one that covers her mouth, pulls her in. And she says, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "I can't let you do this on her own." And then you could show that she and Joel are not talking because she found out the truth that Joel lied. So now the whole game is Ellie and Joel are on their normal adventures, but now the roles reverse. Now Ellie has to open back up to Joel, where Joel had to do the same in the first one, and then lead to the point where Ellie says that very famous line from the game that I thought was really brilliant. "I don't know if I can trust you, or I don't know if I can forgive you, but I'd like to try," and then have Joel die, and then she has to get the revenge. This game does way too much of revenge, but then tells me I'm the terrible person for wanting that revenge.
Well, you should say it differently.
I don't get a choice in that.
Well, that's what...
It's like the game once keeps telling you to make revenge, and I have a point in here why I think this game has the big problem with this game is it hounds you the same over and over again how revenge and killing is bad, but you don't get a choice. You don't arguably get a choice. And yes, you could say, well, you could really do all the missions stealthy and not kill anyone. No, you can't. It really does prevent you from doing that.
Yeah. Well, even if you could, that would make more sense.
Still kill more people in the story, in the cutscenes and story missions.
It would make more sense if it was a let them live, kill them option for each one.
Yep.
Do you mind if I go into this? I wrote down a paragraph and it explains exactly what my point is with this, what I'm trying to make.
No, go
when
for
I say
it.
that. So as I wrote in here, I wrote that this game elevates the brutality of Ellie's murders, but then makes a confusing decision to show sympathy for the murders that she does in cutscenes right after she murders someone. And the example that I use is that scene where she's chasing one of the girls, that the girl that was with Abby's group, at the group that killed Joel. She goes after her, beats her to death brutally with a pipe.
Nora, yeah.
And just brutally beats her. And then seconds later we come back and it's Ellie is feeling terrible about what she did. While minutes later, before I even got to go kill this Nora chick, I've already slaughtered and stabbed and viciously murdered people who were just walking by so that I could get to Nora to kill her. By stabbing her, and when you stab people, blood shoots out of their neck. I've killed dogs.
Yep.
And I didn't have a choice. I didn't have, so you can't make me feel bad for murder if you don't actively give me a choice. And why it makes no sense writing wise. Why would Ellie feel sympathy for this? There's only one of them that I think would be a good idea to use it as a way for her to change. And that's when she kills that one girl that's pregnant.
Mel.
That would have been okay. I would have been fine with that. I understand that. It's like,
visibly bothered her.
She realizes she's going on revenge for what Abby's doing. Maybe finds out how viciously Abby just kills to kill. And then I took a life of a girl who's pregnant. The girl I'm currently dating is pregnant. Like, what do I like?
Yeah.
What if someone did that to Dina? Like, that would have made sense. But it's constantly through the game. You kill someone, Ellie feels bad about it. You kill someone, Ellie feels bad about it. But to get to that person, you don't feel bad for any of the unnamed people that you murdered, to the point that even after one could just be walking by and you surprise it, it didn't attack you. You just shoot it and she'll just yell dick. Like, it's one of those things. Like, it's bad story, right? It's bad storytelling is what it is.
It is. And everything you told me and my dad Monday, I agree with that. It just seems like it was really lazy storytelling where the villain is evil for the sake of evil, and they don't do anything to try to redeem them. So like what I had said before was give you more time with Abby and be vague about what she wants. Her dad has been killed by someone, and she's looking for revenge. You as the player, you know that if she's telling a story about this, if you're seeing her story, you know that she's thinking about Joel, but you're as the player are also able to suspend your disbelief and buy into the verisimilitude that you're just following another random person.
Yeah.
And follow her for a while and follow Ellie and have them both meet up at some point. And up to this point, you felt like Abby and Ellie are very similar and that they will get along well and that Abby will be a good fit with them. And then she murders Joel around the middle of the game.
See, a lot of people have said to do that.
And, but it sounds like, no, you meet Abby and she murders someone. And then you're expected to feel sympathy for her after that.
Yeah, this may be a bit of a rant.
Real quick, there is a spoiler, and I can't really tell you, but all of this quest in the end doesn't have a payoff.
You told me the end of it.
Yeah. So.
Oh, that's what I was.
Zach
worried
doesn't
about.
know the end of it, so we're not going to be discussing it.
I predicted the end. I think I know what's going to happen, and I'm going to be really angry. But
I would think so.
So
I think you probably
the problem that they had is even as the game is now, they had all of the stuff that could make a great story, and they just parsed it up and put it in the wrong spots. So there's a really cool scene where Abby's walking with her dad when she's a kid, and they free a zebra, and then a firefly comes up to him and says, "Hey, listen, we found a girl that's immune. You need to come." And they show that it's the surgeon. So her dad is the surgeon, and both of them have an ideological difference between Joel and Ellie and her dad. So Joel is not willing to sacrifice Ellie. Like he's not willing to give up the individual for the collective.
Yeah.
Abby is willing to give up the individual for the collective. And it was one of those things where like they had all this opportunity, and if they would have showed that scene first, just that scene first, and then cut to where you play as Abby and kill Joel, the rest of the game flows.
That's what it should.
And it's still linear.
It should have been jumping between Ellie, Joel, and Abby, and you play through it, and eventually their paths meet. In a way, like you could do it that way,
and your mysteries are: who is this Abby chick, and who's she after? Why did Joel and Ellie separate? What are each of them doing?
Yeah, and you want me to feel bad for Abby, but you're far enough now. She kills Joel, she kills Jesse and Tommy. She just killed.
Tommy's alive.
But like at the time, but okay, well I guess
I thought it was kind of weird that.
But the thing is, she has killed so many people, and throughout her story, you see she just kills people for no reason. Like it's hard to feel. It's hard to feel bad for the bad guy when you don't give them any reason to really feel bad.
Exactly.
Well, it's one of those things where it's going to sound really weird. They did a really good job with most of their characters, and then they did a horrible job with figuring out who they were.
Yeah.
Like they built a really nice class of characters for almost all of them. But Abby is so driven on revenge from the beginning. And like even from the beginning, she's like, these scars are worthless people that need to be put down.
Yeah.
And then one of them saves her. And then it's like they were trying to do something really cool, which I actually enjoyed that they were doing. She became the thing she hated.
Well, she became Joel.
Exactly.
She's literally doing,
and that's a really good idea.
Of the first game.
And I'm sitting there and like I'm playing the game, and as I'm playing it, I'm like, that is a phenomenal thing to do. Is to show that you became the thing that you hated, and you took someone else away.
Yeah, but that immediately doesn't pay off.
It doesn't.
It doesn't pay off because all she does is bring the scar home, and now the guy that the guy of the girl that was pregnant is dead, who she apparently had feelings for and didn't like the girl who was pregnant because she was stealing her man basically, and then just goes off and kills people and only stops killing when the scar comes from a group of people who murder people all the time. She stops because he says no more killing.
Yeah, there wasn't enough time for character development.
Yeah,
why?
And that's what everything you guys say reeks of that, is that there was a major story change somewhere near the end of the pipeline here, and they didn't have time for anything. And here's the thing. I'm in a good place to recognize that because I'm a huge Destiny player. We deal with that a lot.
Yeah.
Where stories change pretty shortly before release, especially for Destiny 1. You can tell when it happens. And it's when there's these characters that have all this potential to be really interesting and then just aren't and are very two-dimensional.
And the misleading marketing of everything, with the fact that this game had originally been marketed that it was going to be another story of Ellie found. It was very clear from the marketing it was going to be Ellie hates Joel, but Joel stops her to go on a quest with her, and probably she hates him because she found out the truth. No. I mean, the idea that Ellie finds out the truth in the second one would not have been a surprise. You could, and that would have been Joel dying definitely would not have been a surprise.
Yeah.
And I think that partially that was probably because they know it was going to happen, so they just didn't care. They didn't care to make it have any weight to it.
Yeah,
they just did it.
Which smells like someone who's so familiar with the story that they somehow don't realize the beats they're trying to portray and how they'll be received by someone who has no knowledge of this game except for the first one and rumors they've heard about the second. Whereas they've been in a writer's room for
unfortunately, we do have to
hours.
kind of move on because we're already at the 30-minute mark.
Yeah.
And
this has been a compelling topic.
And I do want to say it's very clear that there will be a third game, and most probably no one's going to play it, or everyone's just going to forget it. But here's what I want to say.
I'm just waiting for God of War 2.
This game is not as bad as people are portraying it. It is fun. I do enjoy it. The story is hard to get through, and it's hard for me to care about the characters.
Yeah.
This game is not a 0 out of 10. There are people that worked really hard on this game, and it's very clear.
Yeah.
Is it a 10 out of 10? No. That is a ridiculous statement to think that any game is a 10 out of 10. Even Cyberpunk 2077 is coming out after being delayed like 80 times.
Yeah.
I was born when this game was announced.
And look at some of the closest games people consider to being perfect. Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Not perfect.
They're not perfect games. They're really good, but they're not perfect.
And I never would want a perfect game. I don't want a perfect game because it makes every other game that comes out afterwards worthless to play.
Yeah.
So the last thing I'll say about that, though, is that if they had reorganized the story, it would be so much better.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like they have, like, you're in Seattle for 4 days and you go through 4 days as Ellie, and then you stop at a climax in the middle of the game and then go through the same 4 days.
Arguably someone else's
Abby.
Climax, if you know what I mean.
Hey-ho.
No, you don't know. Did you see this?
No, I didn't see it, but you told me about it.
Okay.
No. So, but then they also fall into the same. And like this is one of the big things that kills me. They fell into the same issue that movies have. So like the new Star Wars movies, they killed off all your favorite characters to make room for new ones. So you're forced into new ones.
I actually thought the same thing halfway through the game.
And then they make you do things that you just do not want to do in the game.
Yeah.
For example, like you play as Abby fighting Ellie. I should be Ellie fighting Abby. Even if Ellie loses the match, I should be Ellie fighting Abby. Like that was such an awkward, I hated it. Like I stood up when we first started fighting and I was like, shoot me. Maybe if I die, it'll let Ellie win. I honestly thought it was.
You get the good ending by losing.
I honestly thought it was going to be something like that. So I was like, I stepped up and I was like, let Ellie kill me. I was like, let it happen.
Yep. And did she?
No.
It's not where the game ends.
Yeah.
That and the
it's
game
part of the story.
The game has gone on about 3 hours longer than it should have.
I agree.
At least 3 hours.
I definitely
longer.
agree.
As this subject has been going on a little bit longer than we intended, but so yeah.
Let's transfer.
We'll probably have more to talk about it later as more
but
comes out about it.
Real quick, because you've never given a score for anything yet. We got a score. What's the score you'd give this one out of 10?
I'm going to be a little harsher. I'm going to give it a 5.5.
All right. That's
like
really fine.
it's like if you played the first game, you should go play it. Like
See,
it's
internet?
still a game.
If someone doesn't agree, you don't have to rip their face off.
Yes.
It is still a fun game,
Especially when
It's
they're
still The
legitimate
Last of Us.
criticisms.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but it's definitely it's kind of rough. It's about 3 or 4 hours longer than it should be, but
Of course, now
Yeah.
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're now going to get canceled because now we're transphobic or whatever.
But I wanted to call that out. Notice that nothing we said had anything to do with any of the inclusivity of the game.
Nah, man, it's just 'cause we didn't
All of our
realize
issues
them.
with it are from the storytelling, the writing perspective of how you tell a story. There's a reason that there are only 7 storylines, give or take. There's the biggest one being like the hero's journey, is because they work and they make sense and they're compelling to watch.
Yeah.
So the only thing I'll say about that is you can definitely tell that they went from non-normal conversations in certain locations, like right at the beginning, because this is definitely not a spoiler, even though we've been spoiling this whole thing. Right at the beginning, Ellie calls a guy a bigot. And
my God, the bigot sandwich thing.
And you hold on, you're gonna love this because as soon as it happened, I immediately went, "This is what should have happened." They wanted to use the word bigot, and very clearly doesn't fit.
That's what I said.
And I sat
it's
there.
such bad writing.
I looked at my girlfriend. I went, everything that I know about Ellie says that she would say that guy's a dick, and then it's a dick sandwich. And it is
agree.
a perfect joke, and it's hilarious. But they wanted to use the word
Naughty
bigot.
Dog, give us a call.
I know, right? Yeah. But that was the problem. You could tell where there were certain things where they were like, I want to say something a certain way
When she said
it wasn't natural.
When she said bigot sandwich, I was like, there's somebody that wrote that on a script and said, Neil, look at this. Isn't this good?
And Neil greenlit it.
Yeah, sure.
Yep. All right.
Let's move on.
I have a movie I watched recently, boys, because it's on Disney Plus now, if you have Disney Plus.
For context, for the people that are listening, we're now throwing plush balls at each other.
Anyway, what?
Ryan threw one at me.
What if I dropped it on you? But okay.
Whatever. On Disney Plus now, you can watch the hit movie Fant Four Stick, or Fantastic Four, as they would like you to call it.
Fan Four Stick.
Because the poster has Fant, and then they replace the A with a 4 stick. So it's Fant Four Stick, obviously.
Fans are forced to stick around.
Yes, essentially. And I remember one of the most memorable things I said about it was I texted my dad immediately afterward and said, well, I just watched Fant Four Stick. That was a movie. And his response was, that's really generous of you.
Yeah, that one was probably one of the worst.
Or no, he said you are being very kind.
I have so many notes.
I do too. And you said you watched it, but it sounded like it was a while back.
Yeah, I watched it a while back, and it was definitely one of those things where I was like, the first one didn't go over well, and you made it worse.
Yeah.
One of my first notes that I have about this is how old is Reed? Because he starts out young, but then he clearly gets to the science fair, and he's like 28 years old, which I have a date to prove it, that they were 28 years old. And also, that teacher is the biggest dick I've ever seen. Like,
oh yeah,
a kid tells you he wants to invent a teleporter. Normal teachers go, whatever, buddy. Like, instead of to be like, why don't you try to stop living in the clouds, you stupid kid.
Yeah,
stupid.
for real.
Whoa, geez, relax, teacher. Jeez. And also, I just said about the high school fair about that teacher is that the high school science fair, they're clearly 28 years old, and the thing has a birth date later in the movie that says of March 14th, 1986. So if this movie came out in 2015, actually took place in 2015, he was 28 years old in that science fair.
Sheesh. Is it explicitly a high school science fair?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Also, I don't care what's at that science fair. He has a teleporter. Whether
Yes.
you thought it was magic or not, that's the best thing on the show
Yes.
floor. Best thing. What's some of your notes, Matt?
I don't have a note until later in the movie when Johnny's introduced and he comes to the lab.
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
have anything
Also-
from before that?
Yeah, why is Dr. Storm at the fair?
Yeah,
At a
exactly.
kid's science fair.
And that trope has happened before in a lot of other, especially kids' movies.
Oh, speaking of that, actually, this is kind of written here, but it's not really written here. But you said you have everything written till about the time before. You don't have anything written before Doom shows up, right?
Yeah,
Like
I don't have
as his
anything.
costume, or when you first meet his person.
When I first meet him.
Okay. At one point during Sue's exchange with him, she says, "You're a regular old Doctor Doom." That only makes sense if there is already a fictional character for her to reference. If there's not, where does that reference
really.
come from? What?
Because people will say someone's all doom and gloom.
Yeah, but they're saying but the idea of calling him Doctor Doom.
But it also doesn't make sense
makes
because that's his name.
Well, that's the thing. It makes no sense because they're literally using it as a reference to the Doctor Doom character who doesn't exist. Why? Why? That was the only part where immediately I stood up from my desk at work and walked away for a second. I was like, wait a
So
minute.
Ryan, are you saying that there's illogical inconsistencies in this?
Oh,
and that's
God.
why
Yes.
it bothers you?
Also, negative zone is just mountains in the dark.
Yes. God. I said one of the few things I did like about the movie is I like the chemistry that Doom, Reed, Sue, and Johnny have.
Yeah. Well, I said
When Doom isn't being a caricature of like incels and all these other like society is all evil types.
yeah.
Where he's what Hollywood thinks all those people are rather than what they actually are, which is kind of just sad.
That's what I said. The casting was pretty good. This casting is really good. They
It
all
is.
do play off of each other.
Yeah,
pretty
they
well.
do, and I love the exchange they have where Reed asks Johnny if he can help him out, and Doom says something like he doesn't take orders well,
Yeah.
and Johnny's like, "What do you need, buddy?" And you just feel the chemistry there
there's
immediately.
but I think it's just that's because the actors are great.
It is,
It's
yeah.
just they're unfortunately weighed down by a really
And then I had a
crappy
note for
movie.
immediately after that, and it was one of the most insulted I've ever felt while I'm watching a movie. Is when Reed asks Sue if she's adopted, and she says yes.
Oh, how they handholded you?
Yes,
Like
I'm like
spoon-fed the
'cause
information
Here's the
to
thing:
you?
is Francis Storm a black guy introduces her as his daughter, but she's white. So me as the viewer immediately thought, okay, she's like a stepdaughter or adopted or something like
Well,
that.
I immediately would assumed adopted just because
And it
he
doesn't
calls
matter.
her daughter.
Yeah, and he says this is my daughter Sue, which is how normal people introduce their kids. And if a black guy walked up to you and introduced this white girl as his daughter, you immediately think, okay, she's a stepdaughter or an adopted daughter. It doesn't matter. She's his daughter.
What he's trying to say
But
is
then
Mr.
the movie-
Fantastic is a racist.
But then the movie, essentially, and then the movie insults my intelligence as a viewer by saying, "No, don't worry, she's adopted." I'm like, why did that matter? Like that annoyed me.
yeah.
The monkey
Doc-
looked just like Caesar, by the way, identical.
Really?
Yes,
Oh, I didn't pay much attention to
when they're doing the test with the monkey,
like
the
Caesar-
CG monkey.
Oh, like from Planet of the Apes.
Yes, looked identical.
Doctor Doom looks
Is
terrible.
it canon that they're in
Can
the
we
same
talk about that
universe?
later? Because I got other stuff that
Yeah,
I
go
want to
ahead.
talk about.
Yeah.
Do you have notes up until you see the new Doctor Doom?
No,
I have a
not
couple.
really.
Why doesn't the teleporter teleport the platform that's holding the thing that gets teleported? Because when they turn on the teleporter, it's a sphere that goes through the floor of whatever like the pod is sitting on, but it doesn't teleport the floor. Why?
Yeah. Because plot. You can't bring that whole
That's the best
floor in
answer.
because if we take the floor out, where are they
So,
going to teleport back to? What are they
Another
gonna
thing I
stand
had
on?
when they first bring Reed in, they're saying like we couldn't figure out how to bring objects back. We couldn't stabilize it, but we got these films back from drones we sent.
But we brought back sand.
We brought back sand. How did you get sand and how did you get a connection through there, but you couldn't get the object back?
Yeah.
Like, what?
I just
that's
think
some
they
pretty
don't
strong
realize
Wi-Fi.
they just had really bad cell signal because again they're not in a negative zone, they're just in like a forest. They're just in the mountains at dark time. They went to the
guess
other
so.
side of the planet.
Why did that thing have remote activation? They all get drunk and turn on remote activation on this hyper advanced piece of technology.
They are scientists. Why are you getting
You
drunk?
think it would be one of those things like a nuclear bomb where two people on opposite sides of the room have to turn a key at the same time?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, well, and
Why are you getting drunk before making an experiment? Doing an experiment.
yeah, I think that's a problem that most of these movies have is they want to get to the point of their story.
Yeah.
So they're just kind of like, all right, this is what happened to get us here. Go.
yeah.
And you don't actually get you don't get a build up to anything that's
Exactly.
good.
Another thing that bugs me, when they first activate it, Sue gets the alarm or whatever. She immediately calls her dad and says, "Hey, get down here." And then goes down, everything happens. They all get their powers. And somehow the government beats the dad there to spirit all the kids away before he even gets there.
And he was the one that called.
They called him first.
Oh, I also wrote a note in here because all it is after they get their powers, this film gets somehow more boring than
Yeah,
it was.
I know. I thought that as they were like in the negative zone, like trying to escape. I'm like, I know all this stuff. Can I just see a movie where they have their powers? Like that's
Yeah.
what I want to see. The CG for Ben was terrible.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was so, especially when they're watching the clips of him doing military stuff.
yeah.
So bad.
I was gonna say, isn't this the one where for some reason Mr. Fantastic is like running away from everyone and not trying
Yeah.
to solve the problem and
Yes!
just not Mr.
Yes.
Fantastic?
And that's
Very
literally my next thing. Is it
Yeah.
again felt so insulting that he didn't make their suits and help them discover their powers.
Yeah.
It was the government doing it off screen.
Yeah,
Like it,
they just took something normal, like, you know what? We'll switch it a little bit and we'll call it the same thing.
yeah.
It's like when your mom says you've got food at home.
Yeah, exactly. I mentioned this to you, Ryan, and you said you noticed it when you watched it. When he changes his face when he's in Panama,
Yeah.
he looked like John Bernthal. Like exactly
He
like
actually
him.
did. But I thought, well, I had to do a double take. I thought they just like pasted his face over top of like the actor's face. But I guess
I don't know.
I think they did.
Maybe.
It's odd. It looks too much.
This
like
is
it.
something I didn't mention before when we were talking about this a couple of days ago. So, I don't know if you caught it when Sue is looking for him with her, first of all, bullcrap extra power where she can read patterns.
Yeah.
And so she just sits in front of a computer and types a bunch and sees the Matrix or whatever. I noticed that it says in the top of it, it's an IDE. You know what an IDE is, right? Independent Developmental Environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for coding.
Exactly. So, first of all, this is a bullcrap power. But if she's writing the code as she's searching for a program to search for him, as she's searching for him, that's pretty impressive.
Evidence that she just got lucky. That's all it is.
I
She
guess.
got lucky at finding.
Hashtag the
and then
plot
we get
demands.
to Doctor Doom. And I have like a string of these that I want to talk about.
Go ahead. Because the only thing I have left is something about the end and also what I found out about the original film.
Okay. So when they go to the other side and they see him there and they're like, oh, we got to get him back. Cancel the mission. And they bring him back. And as they're carting him off the pod, we hear someone off screen say, his biochemistry is off the charts. What does that mean? Like, how am I supposed to interpret that as a
Obviously,
viewer?
it's off the cells are moving so fast they're off the charts.
Yes. He looks so terrible.
Yeah, he just
Tasteless.
honestly he looks like a metal man in a garbage bag.
Who has the powers of Dr. Manhattan?
Yeah, in a garbage bag cape. I don't know why I had trouble saying
this
that.
is great.
So then it goes into it explicitly shows him like popping people's heads in mass.
His
like,
eyes-
7 or 8 of them at a time.
His
but then
eyes-
he doesn't do it to Dr. Storm.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't do it again to all of the Fantastic Four. When they're a direct threat to his plan, why doesn't he just blow up their heads and
Plot
just get
reasons.
it done with?
His eyes are also too small and too close to
Yes.
to the like.
Yeah.
To
You
his,
know
like,
what? That's exactly what the issue was. You're
middle
right.
of his head.
I didn't even. I
That's
couldn't
what it
pin
is.
just awkward to look
It's
at.
just the moment I saw him, I was just like, his eyes aren't right.
Yeah. And then they go on to threaten the government, which apparently gives them a hyper advanced facility with apparently no oversight.
Well, speaking that you're talking about threatening the government that gives them an advanced facility, that giant crater they create, that's their fault.
Yeah, it is.
That is all their fault. All of those people are dead because of them.
Yes.
They all should be in jail.
Yes.
Even the people that made the movie. They
Yes.
all should be in jail. Everyone go to jail.
I got some
go
real Man of Steel
immediately
vibes
right
there.
to jail. No get out of free.
And
get
they
out of jail
explicitly
free
showed
cards.
people getting picked up by this thing and getting killed.
Exactly.
That's funny.
And somehow with that, they were just able to just be like, yeah, we saved the day, guys. The music swells like they were like at the end of Spider-Man, like they saved the world, and this giant crater the size of the freaking moon is there. Like, no, get out of here.
And then
So I think it's safe to say that you guys didn't enjoy this movie.
No.
And I loved it.
Then they don't even give us the satisfaction at the end of hearing him say Fantastic Four. He's
Yeah,
like,
they
I know
did-
what our name should be. It should be,
They did
and then
the
it
Avengers.
cuts. And for some reason, when the title card comes up, it's not what it says on the poster. Like the poster promised me Fant Four Stick, but the title card says Fantastic Four. So I don't understand. I was very confused by that. And that's it for me.
They Age of Ultroned it. Avengers, and they black screened it. But
You know that when they went to go put that movie out, they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get a second one where we can say this."
they weren't.
By all
did.
accounts, the director has been trying to distance himself from this movie as much as possible.
Oh, I
when
understand why.
So I found some more information. So the original film of this, and this is why we said there was a film in here somewhere.
Yes.
So studio involvement is what caused this film to be the way it was. The original
that happens
plan,
a lot.
The original plan for this movie was going to be that they were going to still go to the negative zone, and get their powers, but Doctor Doom was going to become like an acolyte to, what's his name? I wrote his name down. Galactus.
Okay.
But he was going to be the acolyte for them, and basically help Galactus get to Earth, because they were all going to we were originally going to go to a negative zone, which was just going to be a dead planet, and it turns out Galactus was there eating the planet, and in their attempt to run away, Doctor Doom falls in the hole still, becomes what he is, and he basically becomes what the Silver Surfer was.
Okay.
So he would help lead Galactus to Earth, but would try to rule it. Apparently, his main story of him being taking over the country that he takes over was also supposed to be here.
Yeah.
I just remembered the other part that bothered me. At one point in this movie, they say that Doom built this before that, like while that guy was a child. That guy that's 28 years old, and the other one that looks to be 28 years old. So I don't get that correlation, but whatever. Sure. It's like, sure, he built it in the womb.
You've been telling me all this other stuff, movie, so
Yeah, but
whatever.
Film's god awful.
Yeah, it was bad.
I've just got the best mental picture of a doctor going, "It's a boy," and he's just like, it's like put this together. I got to go somewhere else already.
It's a boy. Also, look, twins? Nope. International transportation. Transportation. Wow.
Oh
Is
my
this the next
God.
step
A
in evolution?
transporter.
It was so bad.
Wow. How'd
This
you
is our
pick that
palate
up
clean-
in you?
We decided to go from a divisive game to a abhorrent movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else do we have to talk about? Because I don't want to
did.
talk about Fant Four Stick anymore.
I left things. I mean,
think-
we
I
can
think
pretty
that's-
much end
I don't
the
think we have
show.
much time left anyway.
No, I did bring up that there are like a bunch of quick rundowns that happened while we were gone. Apparently,
There's a coup at Disney. You'll hear, or a coup at Star Wars.
Yeah.
We'll hear more about that someday.
Crash Bandicoot.
We'll hear more about it next week.
Crash Bandicoot's getting a fourth game, and it's called About Time, and the trailer looks really
That's
good.
funny.
Kingsman trailer shows a new villain that we can't see his face. He's a mystery villain.
Okay.
HBO showed a brief clip of Zack Snyder's Justice League, which actually shows us Darkseid.
Okay.
The most anticipated comic of the year, Batman: The Three Jokers, was delayed to August 25th.
Nice.
Obviously, and Fantastic Four, the 2005 edition, called Fantastic Four Extended Edition, is coming to HBO Max.
Interesting.
That's it.
So, and then next week we'll hear more about the coup at Lucasfilm.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
I'm probably late on this, but Horizon Zero Dawn 2 for the
Yes.
flagship of the
Already
PlayStation
got
5.
it. Actually, surprise, might be Cyberpunk 2077 instead too.
Yeah.
So
That makes me sad.
Cyberpunk got delayed to September 15th, and PlayStation and the leaks, or no, November 19th. Sorry.
Don't let them lie to you. That was always the plan.
And PlayStation, well, they got back to November 19th, and then PlayStation's price and release date leaked. And that is November 20th. So it's like, wow, they put it back a month because they need more polishing for it to go in that PlayStation 5 that's coming out.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for listening. As I said at the beginning, make sure you tell your friends about us. The word of mouth helps a lot. You can also leave a review on iTunes, and you can listen to us anywhere else, really. You can find the podcast at Pop Culture Unboxing on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find me at Matt Ross VO on Twitter.
We need a new theme song.
No,
We
we
need to
don't.
update it. You can find me at Red Steak Ryan pretty much everywhere. Zachy,
Yeah.
Zach, welcome back. Where can we,
Zaculus.
Zach, where can we find you, Zach?
You
Zach,
can- you
where
can-
can we find you? Where, Zach?
Ryan, that's my
You-
bit.
You can find me.
How come we never go down?
Wait, what? You,
Don't talk if you're not in front of the mic.
you can find me at _leaf LIEF on Twitter.
All right, sounds good. Well, thank you all for listening.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Have fun.